Will I go sometimes with the sun on shine 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 with the sun on shine.
Hey, we're gonna get started with today. We are going to be covering modules and scripting. This is kind of how I'm thinking of it as like an in-between moment. You already started NumPy, which is basically starting the chapter of using other people's code inside of your code. Modules and scripting is essentially techniques for coding, as I like to think of them. You've already done scripting, and then I'm just going to kind of clear up exactly what we mean by that. And then we're going to talk about modules, and we're going to explain the difference between modules, packages, and libraries, and how they're important when you're coding. So yeah, and then after this, we kind of reach my favorite part of the class where we actually get to start using applications for your coding. Like you're gonna make cool pictures show up. You're gonna be able to graph data. You'll use other libraries besides just NumPy, and these will all help you build an intuition for your final project. So hopefully that's going well. Couple of updates. So just remember that your first check-in is due before April 1st. I don't remember the exact day we are getting back from spring break, but I believe it is due on that Tuesday. I can't exactly remember. So make sure you get I would recommend getting your check-in done before spring break. So you have the rest of this week, you have all of next week. So just go talk to your mentor, brainstorm with them if you have no ideas yet, have something down on paper. If you've already started, that's amazing. Even use office hours as just a place to go work. That's really, really helpful because then if you run into a problem, you can just turn right to your mentor and be like, hello, I have a problem. And we will be more than welcome to help you. So yeah, highly recommend use those spaces as spaces to work. Okay, cool. Are there any questions so far right now? Cool. Okay, well then we will just get started. Let me see. Okay, cool. Yeah. So what are we gonna do today? You're gonna do a quick warm up. We're gonna go over just a little bit of NumPy. We're gonna go over what an import statement exactly does. We're gonna talk about these three differences. As I mentioned, we're gonna do scripting, and then I'm going to do it basically all again through a demo because I personally learn best when someone codes in front of me rather than like points at slides. But some people learn different ways, so we'll do both. But yeah, so that is the plan for today. Okay. So yeah, warm up. So with the people around you, can you answer these three questions? Yes, turn to the people around you, turn behind you, turn sideways. I want to hear some voices. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. You import NumPy. The second one is like import NumPy. I need to import NumPy. How do we import it? We just type at the top, right? Import NumPy as right. Like marked with asking that yeah, to do all the things. Yeah. They're also like fundamentally different as well, because like with a Python list, when we add two lists together, they just get appended together, but with a NumPy, they add each individual reference.
Okay, cool. I hear a break. So we'll go over these questions. Okay. Can anyone tell me, with their best guess, is NumPy a module, a package, or a library? This is kind of a mean question because we haven't taught this yet. Any guesses? We'll go because you. Yes, good. Maybe Maha mentioned that last week. I wasn't here, but yes. You'll get into all those definitions, but essentially, modules are individual files, packages are collections of files, and then libraries are like tons of folders and files combined together. But that'll all make sense in a couple slides. Cool. Okay. How do you import NumPy into a Python file? How do I do this? Yeah.
Import NumPy as NP.
Yep, perfect. So when I want to import basically other people's code, I need to call my import statement. I need to the name of the package or library or module. And then typically what's conventional is people like to call NumPy NP. So that's what we do. But you could technically just call import NumPy, but then you have to write NumPy every single time. So yeah, we'll go more into that today. Okay, cool. What's the difference between a NumPy array and a list? Yeah.
Well, no, NumPy arrays are like harder to change and edit. I ran not really edit it when I was doing the.
Yeah, you're definitely right. NumPy arrays and lists are editable in different ways. So how I like to think of it is lists, you can't really do math with them. They kind of just hold objects like your grocery list. You don't really do math with the grocery list. You know, they just hold like apple, banana, flower. But a NumPy array is essentially something like a calculator. So you could throw a bunch of numbers in there, and then if you add 2 to your NumPy array, then you get 2 onto every single number. Whereas with the list, you add 2, and it just makes 2 lists. So they're kind of just, I do math with NumPy arrays, and then I hold stuff with lists. That's how I think about it in my brain, but there's a lot more actual real definitions for the differences, but yeah. Okay, cool. Bonus question. What's the difference between a .py and a .ipynb file? Does anyone know? Yes.
I know the latter only pops up when we're in the Jupyter notebook.
Correct, yes. You know what it stands for? Okay. No, I didn't know this either. Okay, so PyFile, Python. IPYNB stands for Interactive Python Notebook. So hence Jupyter Notebooks. This is basically just a really, really fancy Python file that basically makes it easier to read your code. So really, if you go in and if you like click on the source code for your Python notebook, like if you download it in a specific way, you'll basically see a ton of extra code inside of with your code. I can show you that at some point, but essentially very similar, but this one just has a bunch of more features, which you experience. We all practice with Jupyter notebooks, right? Last class, thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, I should see thumbs. Cool. Perfect. Okay, cool. So we're doing more of that today. Yeah. Alrighty. Let's see, what do I have next? Yes. Okay, import statements. So this is the import statement that you are familiar with. This is the one we have taught so far. So as we did in warm-up, you have import NumPy as NP. Why does Python have you do stuff like this? Well, because when you go to boot up a Python file, or when you load in Python on your computer, Python wants to be the most efficient as possible. So when you run your code, you want it to run immediately, and you immediately get an answer. But if you were to preload all the packages that existed out there, all the millions probably, or maybe hundreds of thousands that people have written, it would take forever for Python to get through all of that information to then produce your code, your output. So we only call upon packages when we want to use them. There's already some pre-embedded packages like map, which I think I'm going to do today. But NumPy was as open source. So this was written by people. NumPy was written by, I don't know if it was written by the people who made Python, but it was written for a purpose. It was funded for like, I think millions of dollars, and they put a ton of effort into making it. And then now there's this beautiful package that everyone gets to use for free. Kind of cool. So yeah, Python is a lot of open source stuff, but today our main reason is code reusability. So we can make our own import thing. So we can turn this into something we make, and we can import it however we want. So yeah, NumPy is just one. You will learn way more in the coming weeks. Cool. Okay. So yeah, that's import statements. Now I'm going to explain the difference between what these three words mean. Okay, so as I mentioned previously, with the very first warm-up question, it's just a Python file. So every single one of your homework assignments are modules, technically. You've already made them, you've already had practice with them. We just didn't call them that. Because modules are specifically Python files that you import into other Python files. So right now, every time you made a file, that was it. But now you're going to take files and you're going to put them into other files to use them. That's what we're doing today. So that is what a module is. Cool. And then how I like to think of it is I have this little sign up here. So modules are smaller than packages, which are smaller than libraries. So module, single Python file, .py, hence what we're doing today. Package, collection of files. Typically, we see packages as, if you would ever get into research, a research group will typically make packages for specific purposes, like to simulate a supernova explosion. Like that could be a package, etc. And then libraries. These are extensive piles and piles of code, which is NumPy. And I'm kind of repeating myself, but hopefully some of it sinks in. You'll learn pandas, and I think we'll get to AstroPy and SciPy, and Matplotlib. Yeek. Next class. Okay, cool. All right, last thing of me blabbing at you, and then I promise we'll get into a demo. So scripting. You're already familiar with this. It's basically running a Python file on your command. So with VS Code, when we ask you to then run it and check your outputs, that's a script. That is different than Jupyter Notebooks. As you saw last class, when you practiced with them, you would run it and immediately that cell would run and you didn't have to open your terminal and it wouldn't run absolutely everything. They're just different ways to think about coding. Typically, scripting is a more advanced style of coding, whereas Jupyter Notebooks is more seen for smaller projects. So scripting is for bigger, notebooks are smaller, but really it just depends on what you like best. I personally love Jupyter Notebooks. I do not like scripting, and I managed to get by in Berkeley for only Jupyter Notebooks, and it's worked so far. So you can choose whichever way you prefer. But yeah, so kind of up to you, but different things. Okay, so don't mix these in your head. Jupyter Notebooks is not a script. Cool. Okay. Alrighty. So I think that's all I have. Oh, one more thing. Yeah, so why am I combining these today? Because essentially what I want you to is you're already scripting, but now you're going to import a model into your script, and that's just a different technique for coding. Okay, so yikes. Okay, there we go. All right, let's get into the demo. Today, you've already had practice with Jupyter Notebook, but instead of opening up a Jupyter Notebook, I want you to open up something called Jupyter Lab. So when you go to Anaconda and you click on the icon Jupyter Notebook, don't click on that one, click on Jupyter Lab. And then give me a thumbs up once you have Jupyter Lab open. I'm already going to throw Jupyter Lab up on the screen because my Anaconda doesn't work the way your guys' Anaconda does on this computer. So yeah, but this is what it should look like. Oh my gosh, really bad connection today. Okay, so once you have Jupyter Lab open, it should look something like this. And I will explain what all of this means in just a second. So yeah, give me a thumbs up once you have it open, and then we will move forward. If you have questions like, how do I get Jupyter Lab open? Just raise your hand. Full thumbs up.
Oh, no.
Is anyone having an issue? Okay, I need to see general thumbs up from people. You have to show me. Cool, thank you, thank you. Okay, are we generally solid? Okay, no? Okay, we can give you an extra minute and then we'll get started. I'll just talk through what all this stuff means. Okay, before I do stuff. Okay, so Jupyter Lab is basically a way to do Terminal and Jupyter Notebook at the same time. VS Code kind of does this already, where you kind of open up a mini terminal window, but that didn't really work for a lot of people. But Jupyter Lab, I feel like integrates much nicer when you want to use the terminal. So basically, it'll open you up into this random area. You're going to want to go to your Python decal folder or wherever you take your lecture notes. Probably depends on the person, but most people store them in Python decal. But yeah, okay, so I'm in a folder called Python decal. Mine's empty. If you go to yours will not be empty. And how you can navigate around is very similar to your GUI system. So let me just zoom in. Let's see, does it let me zoom in? There we go. Okay. All right, so this would be like my home directory if I was to click that. But essentially, these are folders. You should recognize this syntax from when we were working around the terminal. So teach is the parent directory to Python decal. And you should have stuff in here, but I don't. But what it should look like is a bunch of just folders and files. But yeah, so I'm going in here. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up once we are in Python decal? Cool. Okay, so yeah, so that's what this little sidebar over here does. If you want to close it, you can just click this folder and boom, it goes away. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to open a notebook. So I'm just going to open a Python 3 and this is going to pop up. This should be familiar. This is a Jupyter notebook that you worked with last time, but now we can do more fun things with it, which will help us better, more easily import modules. Okay, thumbs up when we have a Jupyter notebook open. Cool. Awesome sauce. Okay, so I have to put my stick down. Okay, so all right. Actually, before I do this, we're gonna make the module first. So what you're gonna want to do is you're going to want to click this blue plus button, and then that's going to bring open your launcher. You're gonna scroll down and you are going to hit terminal. Cool. And then this should pop up for you. Awesome. Okay, so how I remember where I am is I can call pwd, and that tells me my location in my computer. This will look very different for you guys because I'm in a completely different location, but you should see Python decal at the very end and probably like desktop to files to whatever is holding your Python decal folder. Okay, so now I am going to make a file. Can someone remind me how to make a file on the terminal? What command should I call? Oh, we're going way back, like a month ago. No one else? Yes, in the back. Yeah. Yes, it's nano. That's at least my version. Cool. So nano, and we're going to call this greetings.py. Awesome. Okay, so what I just did, calling nano opens up a brand new file. It's like going to Google Drive and then making a new Google document. We made a new Python file. Cool. Okay, so my goal is ultimately to write code here and get code to show up in my Jupyter notebook. That is the goal. So to do that, I'm going to write a little function. So at the top of all of my modules, I just like to say the name of the file because after a while, you stare at a lot of file names. So this is just my personal way of doing it. So I just say file name, and then I just write greetings.py. Cool. So that's just as a comment. That is not for the computer. Those are for human eyes only. Okay, so how do I start a function? What do I need to call? Yeah. Yes, good. For define. Cool. And then I'm going to make a function called say hello. And then I'm going to put an argument in here, and then I'm going to end it with a colon. Cool. And then I am going to, cool. And then I'm going to call return, and then I'm going to make an f string. I don't remember the exact syntax for how many space bars we need to put in, but we'll probably run into an error, but it's okay. You can watch me debug in real time. Okay, so we're going to call hello, and then we are going to put in curly brackets name, and then I'm going to write exclamation mark. Okay, so Yeah, that's a lot of words. Okay, so define. I'm making a function. The goals of functions are to put stuff in them and get stuff out. So what am I putting into this function? Yes, name is my argument. So that is what my function is going to take in. Okay, what is my function going to give me? Good, yes. So how I did it was I call return. That is the line that tells my function what it's going to output to me. And then it's going to return the string hello. And then because it's an F string, we can throw the variable in here name and then exclamation mark. So if it all works nice and well, then we will get hello name exclamation mark. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to write one more. I'm going to write define, say goodbye. Then I'm going to put name again. And then I am going to write return F hello. Or no, sorry. Goodbye. Name. Awesome. Okay. I will give you just a second to copy that down. Yes. On Jupyter Lab. It should be the same. I thought so. It's different.
Yeah.
Okay, we will take a. Are you also in the same column? Okay. I did not think of this for today.
Yeah, no, for everyone Windows, we can just click terminal on the Jupyter Lab.
You can also just do this from your Git Bash terminal. We're just doing this also in Jupyter Lab. But yeah. Do you know how it works? It's the same. So this terminal right here is literally the same thing as if you were to open up Git Bash. Just placed in here. Yeah. Okay, we will just take 1 second.
Windows PowerShell. What's that F again?
That's just an F string, meaning you can then place variables inside of a string. So typically a string, when you put the quotation marks, everything will just print. But let's say I want to put like a thing that will change inside of my print statement. That's when I use the F string. Just this type. Questions? Nano, and then I call greetings.py. Okay. Yeah. Question? Let's give it one more minute and see if Tom can help. It might take a while. Okay. So this is my book. You need to go to so you have to go back to the here. Scroll. And yeah. But you can figure it out. But in the meantime.
Yeah, I wanna make sure that they can follow along, so I can try it on my computer.
Okay.
While y'all follow along.
Okay, so for my Windows people, can I get a hands up who's Windows and running into this problem? Okay, I'm sorry guys. Okay, see the problems of being a Mac in a Windows place. Okay, so what you can also do is we can go right back to our handy dandy terminal window. So this is my terminal. Hope you see I'm in full screen, so it's not showing up. Okay, cool. I can go to my terminal window. Where did it go? There we go. Okay, so terminal. All right. So, I don't want to confuse you guys, but unfortunately the Jupyter Lab is this is different than my Jupyter Lab, but just bear with me. Okay, so if you are Windows, you would want to go to cd python decal. Okay. Okay, can we see in the back? Cool. All right, so then what you're going to do is you're going to call nano and then greetings.py. Cool. Then you're going to copy and paste those functions that we just wrote. I can do that really quick. Greetings.py. Then I can call define. I'll just write say hello. And then I'll put name. Then you can go return. And then fstring, hello. And then curly brackets, name, exclamation mark. Okay, so that is my function. I'm going to save my changes. So I am going to hit yes. Cool. All right, so now what you can question. Yes, you need to go to Git Bash. So in Windows, you never want to be in PowerShell. That's the problem that Jupyter Lab is facing. Okay. Windows, are we following? Okay, cool. So that's what you're going to want to do. And then in Jupyter Lab, you just want to make sure that you are in the same directory as where this file is. So then when you open up Jupyter Lab, it should be right here as greetings.py. Okay, so I'm going to save this file because now we're back on my Jupyter Lab. Okay, so Control X. Why is it not letting me save? That is the question. Okay, my terminal appears to have crashed. Okay, sorry guys, this is coding in real life. You run into a lot of problems. Okay, this is, yeah, welcome to your future. Okay, greetings.py. Okay, I have lecture notes, so I'm just gonna copy and paste. I assume that you guys have seen me write this like 8 times. Okay, so paste that. Cool, there we go. I think I need to change the, okay. Okay, hopefully that's enough spaces. Control X, yes, enter. Okay, let's keep going with the lecture. Let's actually work with this puppy. Okay, so I now have this file called greetings.py, and I should have this IPYNB folder. Thumbs up if we have this. Okay, are there any questions so far? If you're running into an error, you can show me after class. And these recordings are always posted, so feel free to go back and watch them. Okay, so let's actually figure out what we're doing. So now we have this Jupyter notebook, and I can call import greetings. Okay, that is because I have a bug. Give me 1 second. Let's see. I messed up on hello. So on my hello statement, this is also, well, that's confusing because I have 2 hello statements. It's the bottom one. And I also have a typo. Oh my gosh. Okay, return, and then this should be goodbye. Okay, cool. So, I'm going to restart my kernel and import again. Okay. It is still upset. It is still upset about, okay, give me 1 second. I love this. Okay. Will, can you help me debug in real time? Because I cannot call this file. Where am I messing up? I think my quotation is wrong. Let's see. Did you figure out my error? Or no? This is so bad. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Let me look at I wrote an string earlier.
Okay, how did you call it? Can you go down to call it? Like, did you call the function? No, I just imported the file. Okay. We're just gonna roll with it. We're just gonna see if this works. Does it need parentheses though? Okay. Okay. Huh. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, so I have now imported my file. This is probably how the homeworks feel. You keep trying things over and over again, and eventually something works. That's coding. Okay, let's move on. This is why I gave us a ton of time for today, because I knew we'd run into problems. Cool. Okay, so what I can call is now I have two functions. So inside of I have hello and I have goodbye. So I can call greetings dot say hello, and then I can put a name in here. So I can say Will, and it will call my function. Okay, so pretend we avoided all those errors, but so in my greetings file, I defined two functions: say hello, say goodbye. Those are not anywhere in my notebook, but I can access all of that information with my above import statement, which allows me to then import the file, and then I can call that function. So just like when you called np.mean or np.max, similar thing, those were functions inside of a file. Okay, cool. Are we still following along or no? Okay, no?
I'm getting the same error you had earlier.
Okay, yeah, we can debug some more after class, but as long as the conceptual stuff is there. Cool. Okay, so I can also change how I import my file. So I can also call import greetings as G, and then I can call G.say goodbye, and then I can throw a name in here, and I will say Mira, and then I do the same thing. So this is the same syntax as when we imported NumPy into our Jupyter notebook. So import greetings as G, exactly the same as import NumPy as NP. So I just shorten the name of my file, and then I can still call the functions inside. So that is essentially the bread and butter of importing modules. Everything beyond this is just building upon this similar logic. But if you can understand, or if it's able to work on if your computer is able to understand what you're putting down, then you should be good to go for the homework. Yeah, so files that you can then import into your Jupyter notebooks. Okay, so, all right. So Python also has built-in packages or module, or no, it's built-in modules. So built-in modules in Python. So we can also call import math. That comes provided with Python. So if we want to use it, So I can import math, and then I can call print math dot square root times 25. Whoops. And I get 5. Okay, so I'm just going to explain what I just did. So NumPy was something you imported into your notebook. It was other people's code that you didn't write, that did a bunch of stuff for you, and then gave you an answer. You've had practice writing functions, like we had to write the power function on your very first homework. You had to basically tell your computer how to do exponentials. A lot of that code has already been written for you way in the past by hundreds of people. So that's what's so beautiful about something like math, is you don't have to tell NumPy how to take the square root of stuff, or Python how to take the square root of stuff. It'll just do it for you. Okay, so as this modules is combining the concept of functions along with import statements. So this is an example of a built-in module. Cool. All right. All right, so now we can also do the same thing, but in a different Python file. So I'll do another example. So what you can do is I am going to go back to my terminal, Control X, cool. I'm now going to make another file called nanoscript.py. I'll give you just a second to copy that down. And then we can do the same thing. We can import our module into this Python file, just like we can inside of a notebook. So I'm going to run this. And then I can say file name. And I will call it script. Cool. Then I can call import greetings. And then I can say name, and I'll just put my name. And then I can say print greetings dot say hello. And then I stick name inside of there. Okay, I will give you a second to copy that down. Thank you. Cool. Typos. We love them. All right, so give you a second to copy that down. So I wrote a comment titling whatever this title is, what I called my file. Then I'm importing the other module that I made greetings earlier with those two functions. I'm setting a variable of name equal to my name. And then I can print the name. But I just realized I need to put my name into a string, because otherwise I think it gives an error. Cool. Okay. So now I am going to exit out. All right. Then what I can do is I can call Python script.py. And boom, there it is. Okay, so what did we do? We, let me zoom out. Where'd my cursor go? There it is. Okay. So. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to recap what I've done today. So we made a file called greetings.py. This is a module. We wrote two functions in there. Then we imported greetings into our Jupyter notebook. Then what we did is we wrote another module called script, because it's .py. Then we imported greetings into our script file, and then I ran that on the terminal, and it popped out the output. So this last step of just calling Python and then the name of the file, that's what you were already doing with VS Code, or something very similar to it. All we've done is just called another file from that file. Okay, are there any questions so far, or do you need me to go back and repeat a step? I'm more than happy to. Okay, can someone explain, we're good? Okay, can someone explain the difference to me between a module and a Jupyter notebook? Yeah. Yes, can you give me, what do each of them do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly like I said. So, yeah, so these two files, .py, if you import them into a different file, they are now modules. They cannot be run inside of them. So if I open up greetings.py, like on Nano, I can't just control enter and run it like you can on a Jupyter notebook. They're two different concepts. But you can call modules inside of Python files or interactive Python notebooks. Okay, cool. I think that's all I'm going to cover today. But I can show you one more fun thing. If you are wanting to do the bonus question on the homework, it asks you to create an input for a user. So I will just show you how to do that really quick. So what you can do is you can, if we go back to script.py, so you can also open up your Python files by clicking on them on the left-hand side. I can go into here, and then I can call, I'm just going to comment this out for now because I don't want it here at the moment. Okay, cool. I can then call name equals input and then a string of enter your name. Cool. And then I can say print, and then I can say the same thing that this is right here. Cool. All right, I'll give you just a second to copy that down. So Python has a built-in function called input. Other built-in functions that you've had experience with are print. We probably had you use max, min. There's a bunch of them. Input is also one of them. It's kind of fun. Not as commonly used when you're doing projects, but it can be if other people are wanting to use your code. So yeah, do we have that copied down? Cool. Okay. So gonna exit out of that. So I'm gonna go Command S. So how I know I have not saved my file is this black dot right here. I should see an X. That means I'm up to date and I have saved my progress. So I need to call Control Save or Command Save, and that black dot goes away. That's good. You don't want black dots around. Cool. Or gray dots. Okay, so I can now call Python Python script.py, and it asks for an input. So now I can type in a name. So I will type in Pranati, and then I can hit enter, and it says, hello, Pranati. And that's another thing you can do with Python. So that is what the homework question means by create an input, because essentially this homework is you're going to make a calculator. It's not as scary as it seems. It only needs to do like plus, minus, subtract, or plus, minus, multiply, divide. But essentially, you're going to build a module of a calculator. And then the bonus question is making it basically more advanced. And I think it requires an input. Maybe the question before that does. Either way. Okay, that's all I have for today. Question?
Quick thing, I figured out how to get Jupyter Lab set up the way that Brianna has it set up that I showed you on the demo if you're on Windows. It will take like 5 to 10 minutes, but it works.
Cool. Is it
So-
just like calling something, or do you have to set something?
I needed to create a new system file and then go into my environment variables and
Oh,
redirect
yummy.
the path of that.
Oh no, that's like Charlie's bonus lecture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
I can explain to people, I'll be in office hours right after this, but I can also post it on it.
Okay, that works too. Cool. Okay. That's all I have for today. So yeah, thanks everyone. If you have any questions, we will hang out. If you have any errors, but if not, then you can go home. What do you do? Oh, or go to Katie's All Stars, especially if you're one of her mentees. So you can talk to her about your project because they are coming up soon. So Chico on the horizon.
Yeah, if you're one of my mentees and I also will be hanging out in Katie's office hours, I will be there as well.
Awesome. Cool. All right, I'm gonna kill the recording.